Hi everyone, it's that Aussie chick. Well, I want to do something a bit different today. Having a bit of an issue out here in the old Aussie bush. Now, as people have been aware of, that fire ants are in Australia. Nothing new, they've been here for over 20 years. But apparently now, the government's decided to spend a whole lot of money in eradicating the old fire ant. But what they're doing is actually eradicating other critters in the ecosystem along with the fire ant. They're actually not winning against the fire ant program with the program. They're actually destroying the fire ant's native predators. Dragonflies, red dog ants, bull ants. Everything in the ecosystem has its natural predator. As you can see, I'm surrounded by bush here. There's nothing. There's no fire ants on our property. There's never been fire ants on our property. And the fire ant guys came out and had a bit of a chat to us and said how they wanted to do a check around the place, which we were quite happy to let them do that because, like I've said, there's no fire ants in this place. You can hear the chopper coming again. There's thousands and thousands of acres out here, thousands of acres of bushland, untouched by man, most of it. A lot of protected species are out here. A lot of ground-dwelling animals are out here. Porcupines. There's a whole range of different critters that live in this natural bush that no one gets to see because they're on the ground. Your quails, your lizards, your frogs. The ecosystem is a vast menagerie of different critters, and each critter has its place in the ecosystem. Now, if fire ants in an eradication program is necessary, and I've known suburbs where people that are doing the development actually stir up fire ants' nests and make them spread, that people in the suburbs have complained about fire ants in their properties and how they're trying to get fire ant baits to treat that, and they don't want to do that. Why? Who knows why? But they want to spend millions of dollars out here poisoning the Australian native bush and destroying the ecosystem that's out here that's been protected for thousands and thousands of years. Again, I don't have an objection to them coming onto my property, walking onto my property and doing a visual check. Quite welcome to do that. I have no objection to them coming onto my property and doing a visual check. They're quite free to happily to come out here and walk around and do a look. What I do object to is them coming out and doing aerial sprays. Aerial sprays out here. There's no fire ants. You're poisoning the nature's land. There's creeks and water systems down here. Look at the clouds. It's windy. I've reported them already this morning for doing it in the wind. It's windy up here. We're on tank water. What I think they should do is use the money that they're trying to waste on destroying an ecosystem that's necessary for the bushland to survive and the critters along with the ecosystem to survive. What they're doing is poisoning it. And the chemicals they use don't just affect the fire ant. They affect anything that creates larvae. Your dragonflies, your bees. There's a whole ecosystem that it affects. They target the fire ants, but that's not the only victim. I'll attach video footage to this showing you that they were flying over my property this morning, dropping baits while it's windy, while we're on tank water. My neighbour next door has been given an exemption because their children have chronic health issues where the chemicals can affect that. But their property's right next to mine, and they went straight over the back of theirs too. How can you be given an exemption if they don't take heed to that? I believe the fire ant issue is a serious issue because they've let them get out of control. They're destroying the one set of animals that can actually fight the fire ants. Dragonflies. Dragonflies target queen flying ants. Red dog ants or bulldog ants target the nest. Everything has its place in the ecosystem. No one has a right to mess with that. The world's in a fragile state as it is with all the development and land clearing that's going on. Maybe they should monitor that situation better and treat those areas with their fire ant poison. Not come out and destroy something when there's nothing here to target. Natural bushland. Very few houses. A one-way in and one-way out of here. That's how secluded and isolated we are. There's no fire ants to poison a whole thousands and thousands of acres. You're doing it in the wind. You're doing it where there's tank water. You're doing it where there's creeks. You're doing it where there's rain clouds and wind. Use the treatment for proper use. Use it where it's needed. Don't waste it where it's not. That's just my opinion. This is my property. These are the critters on here I want to protect. No one has a right to destroy an ecosystem because of an ant. There'll come a day where half the critters that are here won't be anymore because of the way land development has gone. Where they go in and they clear every tree. I can give you a quick example. This isn't a land development, but this is fact. I'll zoom in. See that hill? That hill used to be full of trees. Used to be full of trees. Starting on behind it now. I don't know what's going there, but I sure know what's missing. There's a scar on the land now. Can't control it all, but people need to wake up. They're going to take all the land. There's going to be nothing left. One day, our protected species, our kangaroos, our koalas, our goannas, our native animals that live in this area, all the wallabies. I've got like four lots of different kangaroos that live on this property. From the bottom of our hill all the way up, there's different. You see different ones. All these will be affected by eating that stuff. They don't know. They just see it as free food. One day when it's all gone, it'll be too late to say, oh, we shouldn't have did that. Like all the other stuff-ups that they do, like the cane toad thing, and try to introduce something to fix something else when you're actually breaking it. Just leave the ecosystem do its thing. Concentrate at where it's needed. And like I said, I know a lot of estates that have fire ants in them that are begging for help and not getting it. Yeah, go and buy your own one and go and treat your property. But we're going to waste thousands and thousands of dollars out on thousands of acres of bushland when there's no fire ants out here, but we'll spread the poison around anyway so the fire ants get a chance to take hold of the native bush as well. Yeah. Something's got to be given. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. When it's your property, you should have a right to say what's done on your own property, especially when there's no threat of a fire ant invasion on your property, when there's no fire ants present whatsoever. Just a government wanting to spend a lot of money poisoning an ecosystem that has its own ways of protecting itself against invasive species. It's a shame that the nature couldn't protect itself from humans, because we do a lot of damage. Shows you the bare patch on the hill. Imagine all the kangaroos, koalas, goannas. Imagine all the wildlife that lived on that underneath that tree. I mean, this is an example. There's heaps of bushland still either side of this. And this may look like it's just a little dot. But I guarantee you that's probably a couple of 100 acres that's just been cleared up there. Easy. I don't understand why they're going to take all the trees. There is a couple still there, but you can see how bare it is. You see the new start up there. We'll watch this spot and see what develops there. Like I said, all the other hills you see with trees on it, that's what that used to be like. Not anymore. The government needs to protect what we've got. It's pretty special. Stop selling it off to foreign investors. Protect our environment, protect our country. We used to be such a lucky country. I don't feel so lucky anymore. I feel like there's too many of these things creeping around. Those two will be affected by the fire ant baits because they create a larvae as well. But anyway, one more quick look at what man does. Man should rethink and protect what's special. And in my eyes, the Aussie bushland is special. Now I can hear that chopper coming. They were supposed to call me. Obviously, they forgot. But we'll see. That one's an aeroplane up there. There's an aeroplane. Chopper's coming from over that direction somewhere. We'll watch this spot. Permission to be on my property.
No, they're coming up the gully. I'm trying to work out if they're in Bob and Sylvia's. They go right down. You can't, just below the tree line.
So I think, like, I'm just one person. I'm one person trying to, I don't even know what I'm trying to do. Trying to make the government realise that the millions of dollars they're spending on an ant in places like here, and you still get to have helicopters come through your property when you don't actually give them permission to do that. Government, like I said, needs to protect what's special, and Australia's a special place. Why do you think so many people want to come here? But we're losing it all. We're losing it all to a government that thinks that money's more important than people. You can hear the helicopter in the background. They haven't come quite as close this time since my last phone call, but I didn't receive a call back. They were going to call me, but at least they seem to be steering clear of my place for now. One person can't do much against a government. You're asked to be treated fairly. I've not denied them access to my property. I've not denied them to come here and do a walkthrough and treat anything they find. There's nothing here. I didn't give them permission to fly a helicopter over here and dump their poison at the back of my property. And I'm hoping this time they've taken heed to that. Like I said, they seem to be steering clear of the back of my place at the moment. But I'll be watching. Someone's got to speak out for the ones that can't. Animals don't have a voice. The ecosystem doesn't get a voice. It gets destroyed. It gets destroyed by developments. It gets destroyed by people that don't care about the future. Live for the now. I can hear him, see if he pops around the back of me. He seems to be going to the top of the hill and following the ridge this time. Yeah, he's turning off before he gets close. They know I'm out here. I'm being a bit visible. Anyway, guys, wish me luck. Like I said, I don't know what one person can do, but if enough of us stand our ground, they've got to listen to us. We're not being unreasonable. I've not denied them access. What I've denied them is doing aerial drops in a country where we rely on the water here to survive. We drink the water, we use the water. We're spraying near the house on a windy day. We're at the back, it can still blow this way. The wind's up on the top of the mountain, gets quite gusty. So, don't know how well you can hear the chopper, but this chopper has a unique sound, so I always hear it coming. I know the sound of this one in particular. I watch to do the valley down the back, or down the front. It's the front of my place. But as much as I can, I'm going to prevent them spraying it. They can walk it, but they ain't spraying it. That's for sure. I'm not going to allow that to happen. They can see me out here and know I'm watching. And if that's enough to deter them, well, then so be it. I'll make a cuppa and I'll sit right here and keep an eye on things. I've got my phone in my hand and I'm video footing. I've told them I've got video footage of them spraying in the wind. Video footage of them going across my property when they didn't have permission to do that. So they know I'm visible. They know I'm taking notes. Wish me luck. Okay. This is the day after they hit the valley with their poison yesterday. I'll do a bit more of an update. because I made 3 phone calls yesterday in regard to the Arrow helicopter doing an airdrop on our property. They had no permission to do this. They were told months and months ago about the arrangement that we had agreed on, but from my understanding, these people don't talk to each other because they still did their aerial drops around here yesterday. What I've noticed this morning when I've got up, and you may notice it too, is the silence. Do you hear the silence? There's usually a bit of a hive of activity here in the mornings with the birds. As you can see, there's Mrs. Magpie's out there. But the other birds you see flying around the trees, well, I'm not sure where they've gone. Maybe the helicopter scared them off. Yeah, but it's pretty silent here in the morning, this morning. This is just a follow-up video from my video yesterday. My video showed the helicopter doing airdrops out here with their toxic poison to apparently kill a fire ant. That's not present on any of the properties out here. There's been no ants found on any properties out here. The fire ants that they found were found miles down the road. They were treated twice. Properties were checked. There's no fire ants present on the property, yet they still felt it necessary to come out here and bombard the place with helicopter drops, which they did yesterday, which when I rang, I had 3 phone calls yesterday, but my 3rd phone call I'd spoke to a different fella again, and he was a bit surprised they were doing it on a Sunday because they don't usually work on Sunday. And apparently 3 emails had been sent off to them in regards to my complaints. But again, they said that they don't usually check their emails on the weekend. So why are they flying around doing work when they're not even meant to be doing it? And why do they not check their emails when there's situations happening? When I had to explain that there's people with health issues out here, that the aerial drops will affect their respiratory conditions. This went unheeded. I hope those people in the valley that suffer these conditions aren't suffering today, because I know these people were told they were exempt from having any treatment done on their property. Yet they too received the fire ant treatment yesterday across the back of their place in the wind. So how do they explain that one? The little kangaroos. These kangaroos have babies. These kangaroos feed off the grass. These kangaroos will be eating that crap they've just put on the ground, along with the birds. And with Mrs. Magpie, with the bush turkeys. All these will be affected by what they've just done. That's Norman. Hey Norman, haven't seen you for a while. Hey mummy. I just wanted to add one more thing to this video. If these people that are supposed to be eradicating the fire ant with this fire ant program that they're doing, they had done their research into the ants and into fire ants, these people should also be aware that in cooler weather, these ants aren't even out foraging for food. These ants have already got their food ready for the winter months. When it's a cool day, these ants aren't even out. When they were out here yesterday spraying, it was a cold day. So where was that poison going? As I stated before, there are no fire ants on this property at all, in this valley at all. The fire ants that were on the road down miles away from here were brought in by council. that were treated ages ago. But we're coming into cooler months now, and they're spraying for an ant that's not even out looking for food. As I've stated, all they're doing is poisoning an ecosystem. And what they're targeting isn't even getting the food, because they've already got their food for winter. Think about that next time you see a chopper in the air when it's cooler weather. These ants aren't even out. Makes you wonder what their motives really are, doesn't it? Makes me question it. Just wanted to add one more thing before I finish this video up. If the people doing the fire ant eradication program had done their research into the ants' behaviour and activity, these people would understand that in cooler weather these ants aren't even out foraging for food. These ants already have their food stored away in their tunnels and their homes, ready for the winter months. So when they were out here spraying yesterday, it was a cold day. So these ants weren't even present. What was present was a lot of other animals though, that would have been vulnerable to eating the crap that they've just dropped on the ground. Have you seen Miss Magpie here doing? And we got microbats. A lot of other insects out here that rely on other insects to survive. The larvae from other insects. This is the chain effect that this poison is going to have on the ecosystem, where one lot die and the other ones will eat the things that are contaminated with this stuff, and those two will be affected by the toxic poison. There's a whole range of things that will be affected in the ecosystem by the result of what they've done. Again, I state, in cold weather ants aren't active. Ants already have their homes full of food ready for the winter months. Yesterday on a Sunday, when they weren't even meant to be working, they were out here spraying. It was windy and it was cold, but they still sprayed the valley anyway. Sprayed up behind our hill, sprayed at the back of our property. Their ants weren't getting this poison. The other critters in the valley were. All the ground dwellers, the earthworms, all that stuff will be affected. Again, not enough testing, not enough security, not enough research has been put into what they're doing, what the long-term effect of this will be on the properties, on the land, on the environment, on the ecosystem. These people like to just start experimenting with nature and make a friggin' schmozzlery out of the ecosystem. The fire ants take hold because they've been allowed to. Because their natural predators are being wiped out by a poison that's aimed at them. But they're not the ones only being affected. Again, I state there is no fire ants on this property. There has never been fire ants on this property or any property around us. They had no need, they had no permission to be here. We did not give consent, but they did it anyway. There should be some sort of repercussions for that. I didn't do a follow-up yesterday because yesterday afternoon I was lightheaded and dizzy and had a headache. This was reported to their authority figures too. This was the gentleman that told me that they're not meant to be working on a Sunday, that they don't even check their emails on a Sunday. That's why they think they kept continuing to spray when they were told not to, because no one checked. They weren't even meant to be out here. Another ones that don't follow the rules, make it up as they go. And the environment will pay the price for that. The government can pat themselves on the back saying that we've just spent all this money trying to eradicate a problem that's been here for 20 years, over 20 years. And all they're doing is successfully letting the invasive species that they're so concerned about take over. Like I said, they just sprayed this whole valley. thousands and thousands and thousands for hundreds of thousands of acres out here with that toxic poison on a cold, windy day. So do your research. Don't be a sheep. Research stuff. Don't just believe what people tell you. The internet's there for everybody to look at stuff. Go and do research on fire ants. Go do research on the fire ant program they're doing. How safe it is for humans, how safe it is for the environment, how safe it is for free roaming chickens. It's not. I've had people that have had treatments done where their chickens don't lay eggs anymore. And you talk to the fire ant people and they've got all the denials in the world. Oh no, it's completely safe. Want to see how safe it is? Put some in a glass of water and ask them to drink it. You'll soon see how brave they are. Because I guarantee you no one's going to do that. Anyway, just wanted to add that part on here. Cold weather ants aren't even out. But they sprayed in cold and windy weather anyway. Go figure.